honestly cannot believe that we are a week away from Formula One again. It literally just feels like Lando Norris, won the world championship and that crazy day in Abu Dhabi. It's kind of nuts, but here we are nonetheless. And for Drive to Survive literally comes out tomorrow. The day before I'm making this video, you'll probably see this video on the day that Drive to Survive does come out. So enjoy watching that. But it's kind of crazy because this is, in all honesty, a new dawn for Formula One. Formula One is changing. Formula One is seeing a new era as we do every 4 years. Okay. We last saw it in 2022. The cars were the biggest they've ever been. Obviously, that this previous era has been dominated by Red Bull and Max Verstappen and closed out by McLaren and both their drivers just being on fire. But now we see a new era where everything's reset. It's essentially a reset button put on Formula One, and probably the biggest change we have seen in the history of the sport. And I say that because for the first time in Formula One, we will see a how do I put this? A smaller car, a much smaller car compared to the previous years that we've seen. And I say that because this car looks eerily similar to the way I've described it is almost a mix of the early 2000s cars or late 2000s cars and the turbo hybrid era cars, the ones that were dominated by Mercedes. But it's cool because it's like a futuristic version, if that makes sense. It's cool. I like it. And it's going to encourage better racing. The cars are smaller. It's going to be like these guys are go-karting again. It's new and it's unknown, and that's the best thing about Formula One is that yes, it changes every season, but every 4 years we get these big changes where it's a new sport. It's a reset button, and I cannot wait. It felt like at the end of this past era that Formula One was on a bit of a decline with regards to real popularity. You have a lot of these quote unquote Drive to Survive fans who in the past 5 years have been part of this, upward surge in Formula One, and it has grown so much. It's grown exponentially over the past 5 years, but it seemed as though it was a bit more flashy. And how can we get more celebrities, and how can we make this more look like glitz and glamour? The Formula One movie came out last year, and I think they not forgot, but they were moving away from, the traditional Formula One fans that have been around for years. Okay, I've personally started watching Formula One when I was maybe 7 or 8. It was just something that was on a Sunday. You watch the Grand Prix every 2 weeks on a Sunday. That was how it was, and now it's turned into this worldwide sport. It is becoming Americanized, as is anything that has a popularity surge. It becomes Americanized. There's now 3 American races. There's an American team, an American branded team that is based in Silverstone. We'll get into that now. But it Formula One is growing, and some would say that in the past couple years that growth has been a bit fake, we could say. But I think this surge and this new rebrand, this new reset of this new era in 2026 is going to take us back to the glory days, in my opinion. And speaking of new era, we've got 2 new teams. Now, Audi have been confirmed for a while that they were going to, I think it was 2023 maybe that they confirmed that they would join the grid, and they've taken the place of Sauber. Sauber, a team that's been on the grid for, decades, are now out, and Audi has come in, and it's essentially just a rebrand of the team. The drivers are the same, the team principal is the same. Nico Hulkenberg and Gabriel Bortoleto will still be the drivers for that team, with Jonathan Wheatley, calling the shots. He will be the team principal at Audi, and it's good, man. It's a rebrand. I personally love the car's livery. The car looks sick. It's a different sort of color scheme that we used to in Formula One. It's very sleek, and I think it's cool. Will they be fast? Who knows? Again, it's a reset. You don't know anything, but you know, if we look at the Kick Sauber era and Alfa Romeo, what they were previously in the turbo hybrid era, and even the start of the last era, it's not. Look, it's not. You know, you can't say that Audi are gonna shoot the lights out because of their previous performance. But we've said that about other teams in the past, and they've shocked us. But who knows? The other new team, Cadillac. Now, this is definitely part of the Americanization of Formula One. Obviously, as previously said, we now have 3 Formula One races on the calendar. That being Miami, that being Austin, and that being Las Vegas. I like those 3 races, bar Las Vegas. I think the track is a bit, childish, if lack for a better word. But I like the Miami track, and I like Austin. Austin's always a good weekend. But I think with the Formula One movie, Brad Pitt, Damson Idris, these big Hollywood names, Formula One has become I need to be at Formula One this weekend to show show face. That's what it turned into. But now we have a new team, and obviously Haas have been the American team for, what's maybe 8 years now. Could be longer than that. They've been the American team, and they've been lackluster to say the least. They've had seasons where they scored 0 points. They haven't been the best team to represent America, and they will stay with their driver lineup of Oliver Behrman and Esteban Ocon. And they will look towards the future to try and keep that American brand going. But Cadillac comes in as a bright, shiny new team, completely new. It's another team on the grid, 11 teams, 22 drivers. That's something we haven't seen in a while. It's unknowns, and Cadillac have revealed their car. It is going to be powered by Ferrari, alongside Haas, Ferrari, and someone else. Someone else has a Ferrari engine. No, it's just the 3 of them: Ferrari, Haas, and Cadillac. So yeah, Cadillac comes in, and they're doing a very bold strategy. Look, you have to go safe with your establishing year in a big sport like Formula One, and they have gone safe. They've gone with Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas, 2 proven Formula One race winners. Obviously, Bottas, his couple years at Williams and then Mercedes, obviously where he won, I want to say 8 to 10 races maybe, was always the second driver to Lewis Hamilton, and the same goes for Sergio Perez behind Max Verstappen. They're both 2 proven race winners in Formula One and possible championship contenders, but let's be realistic. It's a new team with 2 veterans. They're not going to be competing for Formula One World Championships. Let's be real. They are here to establish themselves as, look, we are here to be a presence. We are here to, say we are in Formula One. We're not just here for the glitz and the glamour. And I think that's why they have gone, obviously, with the safety in hiring 2 veterans to race for their team. And if I'm not mistaken, Guan Yu Zhou is their backup driver. So again, a guy who's been in Formula One for a couple of years now. They've gone in that direction rather than, picking up some academy or F2 drivers from other teams, which obviously wouldn't really make sense for them to do because they don't really have an academy themselves. But, nonetheless, that's a new team. Okay. Cadillac, new team. We have 11 teams on the grid again. It does sound very weird to say that, but that is how it's going to be. Anyway, moving swiftly onwards, we have, as we've said before, this new era in 2026 in Formula One. That means a new car. The car is significantly smaller. Just by looking at it, you can see it's a smaller, more compact car. New aerodynamic rules, new power unit changes. The cars are different. I've described it as it will look like they're driving go-karts again. Obviously not, that's an exaggeration, but these cars from 2022 to 2025 were so big, and that's one of the reasons I didn't like the past 4 years of Formula One, was because they were so big that the drivers only had, a certain amount of places on the track where they could actually overtaking opportunities. but those were limited even more because of the size of the cars. And now we're in a situation where the cars are going to be smaller, better racing, more aggressive. And another big change, DRS is no longer a thing, ladies and gentlemen. That is a huge change. DRS, obviously very controversial since its inception, where cars, for an overtaking opportunity, within 1 second of the car in front of you, could open a flap in their rear wing, and it would allow more drag and better aerodynamic, speed, get past the car, and you'd shoot like a rocket. And it was very, controversial because it was overpowered in some scenarios, but very pointless in other scenarios. And they've introduced this new thing. I want to get this word right. Active aero. That's what it's called. Active aero. Now, active aero is essentially DRS 2.0. Excuse me. It's, an evolution of what was once the drag reduction system. Active aero is where the rear and front wings will be able to be adjusted in different, designated parts of the track, predominantly the straights, because aerodynamics works in a straight line. That's science. That's just how it works. So in summary, these flaps, your front flaps, front wings and rear wings, will stay closed through the corners, and on the straights you'll be able to open them, meaning that you don't have to rely on a car in front of you to open it, or within 1 second of the car in front of you to open the flaps. It can be used more frequently on the track. It's more consistent, in my opinion. It's a consistent move away from the drag reduction system, and I like it. I like the change. We have seen him practicing, obviously, Ferrari, teams experimenting with this. Ferrari doing the rotating rear wing, which was very interesting. But it's gonna be interesting to see how this changes, because, like I said, DRS, the car in front was very vulnerable in an overtaking scenario. Now it's sort of equal, and obviously the car behind is always in the better scenario because you have that windbreaker from the car in front of you. You have that gap. You can hold the line behind the car in front of you, and that gives you more speed. That's just how life works, okay? But it's made it more competitive because the cars in front have more of a chance to actually compete. And I do like it. I think it's a good change. I think it's a better alternative from the DRS, the drag reduction system. But we'll see. It's another change. Again, it's an unknown. We don't know yet how it's going to affect things. But just staying on the cars and the new power unit changes. I won't get into the technical stuff. It's just power units are different in the way that they're constructed and supplied. There are now 5 power unit suppliers in Formula 1 in 2026. 5 power unit suppliers for 11 teams. Red Bull Powertrains, okay, in collaboration with Ford, will be supplying Red Bull, and obviously the Racing Bulls, their junior team. Ferrari is supplying Ferrari, Haas, and Cadillac. Mercedes is supplying Mercedes AMG Petronas Formula 1 team. So I got the word right. Williams, McLaren, and one more, Alpine. Alpine have switched from Renault to Mercedes. And then Honda has made its return to Formula 1 in the form of supplying an engine to Aston Martin, and Audi will be supplying their own engines, their own power units. 5 engine suppliers. That means that the power unit market, or, lack for a better word, competition, is becoming more competitive. And that means that, and I mean, even in the future, I think it's 2028, they were expecting it, but in 2029, Cadillac are going to be using this, their house brand General Motors as their power unit supplier, which means, in 2029, we'll have 6 power unit suppliers. That's crazy, because we've previously only seen 3 or 4 at best. Now we have 5, and we're going to be moving to 6 in a couple years. I'm here for it, man. It's becoming more diverse. It's becoming more competitive, more brands, taking that risk and jumping into Formula One, it's good to see. And I'm really, really, if I haven't said it enough, I'm really looking forward to this Formula One season because it's going to be so competitive. It's going to be like pressing a reset button. Obviously, McLaren coming off a high. Max Verstappen dominated the past era. You know, what's going on with him? With all the controversy that happened at Red Bull last year over the past couple of years. Lewis Hamilton has been very vocal about, I want to win an 8th world championship. I'm not leaving Formula One until that. But we're getting to a point now where, you know, these drivers are becoming more and more talented by the year. He is, let's be real, the second driver to Charles Leclerc because Charles Leclerc is seen as the number one driver at Ferrari. That's why they replaced Sainz with Hamilton. They didn't get rid of Leclerc. You know, he's the guy. He has come through Alfa Romeo. You know, he was in Prema in Formula 2. He's a Ferrari guy. So, you know, that thing of priority, you know, if you're going to prioritize, we've seen this very controversial way of team orders and prioritization at McLaren with 2 young drivers. Now you've got a 7-time world champion and an up-and-comer who is arguably more talented right now, if you're talking about in 2026. But he's still fighting for that 8th world championship. So it's a difficult sort of dynamic. But then you have Red Bull with, you know, obviously Max Verstappen is one of the greatest Formula 1 drivers of all time now. He's a 4-time world champion and nearly a 5th. You know, he was dominant throughout the past era. Isaac Hadjar comes in, an unreal rookie year. You know, Aston Martin are still making their surge upwards. And then you have Mercedes with George Russell and Kimi Antonelli. George Russell was on fire last year. You know, and they're looking like Mercedes are back. And it's difficult to say that because every new year that we had during the past era, we said Mercedes is back, Mercedes is back, Mercedes is back. But this time it actually seems real because they actually didn't have the best car in 2025 and they competed. You know, they actually did some work. They went to work. It was dominated by McLaren and Red Bull, but they went to work, Mercedes did. And they've had a proper shift from being on top of the sport through the turbo hybrid era until 2021 to rock bottom in 2022, you know, and have steadily increased upwards to 2025 and now find themselves in 2026 in a new era. I'm here for it, man. I genuinely think that Mercedes could be very scary in 2026, and I'd love to see it. I've got a Mercedes car right there. I love seeing Mercedes do well. I'm a Hamilton fan. You know, please bring back Mercedes. Make them good again. It would be good for the sports. Make it more competitive because there were 3 years in Formula One where it was unwatchable with the amount of races Max was winning. And I'm not saying that as a salty Hamilton fan. I'm saying that because the guy won every single race in 2023 bar one race. Like, that isn't very exciting. Let's be real. We want to see competitive racing. We want to see, like we did in 2025, McLaren win one weekend, Red Bull win one weekend, and now we've got Ferrari and Mercedes coming into the mix. I'm here for it. Let's go. Formula 1 2026. So yeah, in summary, I did want to talk about the personnel changes just briefly. So obviously at Red Bull, like we've just spoken about, Max, their number one driver, but Isaac Hadjar has been promoted from Racing Bulls to, you know, the Red Bull main team, meaning that his replacement is Arvid Lindblad, obviously from Formula 2, the young British driver. He will be taking that place in place of Isaac Hadjar on the Racing Bulls. So that's the change for Red Bull. And Aston Martin, how could I forget? Adrian Newey obviously is taking over as team principal at Aston Martin. Obviously the man responsible for the success of Max Verstappen because he built his car. He built Max Verstappen and Red Bull's success during the past era of Formula One. It was up to him. He is the chief aerodynamics officer, whatever they call them. He was the guy who essentially created, designed, constructed that car, and it was unreal. It was the most dominant car of the past era, and Aston Martin saw that and said, let's go. We'll take that. Thank you very much. And We say that because, as we know, Aston Martin are making a very big surge, as per Lawrence Stroll, excuse me, to fight for championships. And will they do that with Lawrence Stroll in the seat? If I had to tell you today, no, they wouldn't. Fernando Alonso is a proven champion. You don't have to worry about him. He'll get on with his own thing. What you do have to worry about is the boss's son in the seat and him not getting the results. You can't have results and comfort within the family at the same time. It's just not going to happen, unfortunately, within their situation. We've been saying that for years, though. So it'll be very interesting to see where they go with that direction. But yeah, Andrew Newey will be building a car for Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll in 2026. As well as being the team principal. He is the principal of the team. He will be leading the team, not just being, the aerodynamics guy. And speaking of team principals, Alpine, this is the 26th of February, 2026. Formula One begins in a week a week tomorrow. Alpine do not have a team principal. Alpine were dreadful in 2025. Dreadful. They have switched their power unit from Renault to Mercedes. They have kept their driver lineup of Pierre Gasly and, oh my gosh, Franco Colapinto. But they don't have a team principal. So they have no direction, but we are a week away from the season. That's a big question mark for the French team. Big question mark. Big unknown. So I don't know what's going on there, but Alpine need to find a solution to that problem, because that you need a team principal. You need the right guy there. I think Flavio Briatore is currently their acting team principal, and let's not get started on Flavio. I mean, yeah. Anyway, so I don't know what Alpine are going to do, but best of luck to you. And then obviously, lastly, Cadillac, completely new team. They fill a brand new slot in Formula One. There will be 22 cars on the Formula One grid in 2026. It's going to be so cool. Obviously, like we discussed, Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas will lead the charge there, and Graham Loudon will be their team principal. That is essentially Formula One in 2026. It's going to be great, man. You can see how excited I am. It's a new season. It's the unknown, and that's the best part about Formula One and sports in general, is that, I'm a big, obviously, American sports guy. You don't know what's going to happen when a new season rolls around. And the same is with Formula One. You don't know what's going to happen. You have an idea. Red Bull will probably be good. McLaren will probably be good. Ferrari and Mercedes will be, the second level. And then you have a midfield that could be all to play for. Williams will be good. I didn't mention that. Williams will be very good in 2026. I said this. I said Williams will be good in 2026. They'll be the biggest riser in whatever standings. They could get a podium. I said it. Williams will get a podium in 2026. Oh, I love Williams. I think Williams... How did I forget about this? Williams are my favorite team going into 2026. I can't wait. I'm watching Williams with a Hawkeye. I cannot wait. They are going to be, Albon, Sainz, and James Vowles. I love James Vowles. He's dope. I think Williams, watch out for Williams, man, in 2026. I'm telling you. But yeah, it's going to be great. Formula One 2026. I hope you guys enjoy. Like I said, Drive Survive comes out tomorrow. So it's Drive Survive Day. Or Drive Survive Eve. Sorry. So 8 seasons. We are 8 seasons deep into Formula One, and the sport is growing like a monsoon. But yeah, it's great to see, and we are T-minus 1 week away from the new season. If you have enjoyed this rant about what's going on with the new season and what we have to look forward to, please drop me a like down below. That would be great. Trying to grow this as much as we can. I'll be here, chatting about stuff that's going on, whether it's NFL, NBA, football, Formula One, you name it. I'll probably be here talking about it. I just love talking about sports, as you guys know. But yeah, let's look forward to Formula One in 2026. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to follow me on socials as well, and let me know down below your predictions for Formula One in 2026. I might make a separate prediction video. I'll see. There's not much to predict, but I might just make it anyway. It might just be a short video, Instagram and TikTok, whatsoever. But yeah, if you guys have enjoyed, I will chat to you soon. Thanks for being here with me. See you guys soon.